I was asked to rebrand a top 1% podcast in the entrepreneurship space. Besides the name, everything needed to be changed, including the podcast logo. In this video, I'm going to take you along the journey of creating a brand new podcast cover art. Here's where we started. This logo is not too bad, but we want to improve upon it. What's good about this logo is that it's clear, has some bright colors. However, we don't have a picture of the hosts, Sean Dill and Lacey Book, and the colors actually don't really coincide with their brand and the book that this podcast is actually named after. So here's how we can actually improve this logo. And if you're starting from scratch, I highly recommend you use a tool like Canva. I'll put a link down in the description box below so you can try it out for yourself. All we're going to do here is type in podcast into the search bar on Canva. As you can see, it's loading up tons of different templates that we can take a look at, that we can draw inspiration from. As you can see, there's a lot of different templates and ideas, but I actually want to come up to this one here where I like the style and the font of this one. So once you find a design that you like, all you have to do is hit customize this template. And one of the main things that I like about this particular template is that it features a nice portrait of the guest. But to get things moving, I'm going to go ahead and start editing some of the text. Now that to me is already starting to look a little bit better. Now I mentioned that Sean and Lacey have a book called None of Your Business, and the podcast is named after this book. The branding and colors of their book kind of are white, red, and black. So I want the podcast cover art to actually match this, as the green and yellow of the original podcast logo did not match this. And to change the color of any element inside of Canva, all you have to do is select the element, go up to this color here, and then you have a full color panel that you can choose all different types of colors. You can even add a custom hex code if there's a specific color that you have for your branding of other types of logos, fonts, whatever the case may be. So I'm actually going to change this to black, and I'm going to make the text, we can select the text color right here. We're going to turn this to red. And that's very similar to the color that we have on the book. All right, let's also start working on replacing a photo of Sean and Lacey. We're going to select this photo here, and also what she's wearing goes with the brand colors. So this is a great photo that we can use. Also, another great feature inside of Canva is the automatic background removal tool. So if you click edit photo, and then in the Magic Studio, we have the BG, which stands for background remover. If we click that, it will automatically remove the background and leave just the subject in the photo. So now let's find a photo of Sean. This is another great photo of Sean. Again, we're going to go to edit photo, hit the background remover. Then what I'm actually going to do is position this photo behind Lacey. These two are each a layer of this design, and you can see the Sean photo is sitting on top of Lacey, but instead we're going to push Sean behind her so that it masks this part right here. So to do that, we're going to click the element that we want to edit. We're going to go to position, and then you can simply hit backwards. And all that did was push this element of the design behind this one. And now we actually can't see what that portion was. We probably could just end it right here, and this could be a very good looking podcast cover art. However, there are a few things that we can do to enhance this look and help it stand out just a little bit more. So let's do that. And before we go anywhere, if we want to group these two photos so that anytime we move them, they stick together, what you can do is select them by clicking and dragging across the elements you want to group. Then this little pop-up will appear and you can hit the group button. One thing that we can do individually on each of these photos to help them stand out a little bit more is to edit the lighting. So if you click on one of the photos, we go to the edit photo button, And then under this tab, adjust. What we can do is edit the lighting of this photo, and I'm just gonna brighten Sean just a little bit more so he stands out from the background. We can also add a little bit of contrast and vibrance so that there's a little bit more color. Now to enhance the text a little bit, what we can do is add an effect on any of these words. So for the none, what I'm gonna do is add a shadow. And basically that shadow just gives it a different 3D type of look. You can adjust the shadow color if you'd like, but I'm actually gonna stick to the same red color that we have for the actual face of the text itself, but the transparency is down to 40%. So it just looks like it's faded a little bit in the background and creates that 3D effect. I'm gonna add an effect to the word business as well. So I'm gonna click on the business word. I'm gonna go to effects, then go to neon. And by default, it's gonna add just like this glow of whatever color the text is. And we can lower the intensity or raise the intensity. I like it somewhere around 40. And what that does is it basically creates a little bit of contrast between these words up here. It almost makes it look like business is like a neon sign, which creates this really cool effect. Now to enhance the effect of the glow on the word business, we're gonna add a little something behind Sean and Lacey. One of the things that we can add is what's called a radial gradient. So I'm gonna position this right in between their heads, above their shoulders. And then using the position tab, we're gonna move this backwards. I'm gonna move this even lower. We're gonna click and drag it and make it just a little bit bigger. What that did is it kind of makes it look like there's a light behind them. One other thing that we can do is add a cast of light coming down from business. So I'm gonna type in glow, go to the graphics and hit see all. And I kind of like this spotlight one. It's very soft. And we're gonna position one on the left by Lacey and then one on the right by Sean. Again, we're gonna push both of these back behind them. Now it really enhances that effect that the business is shining this light. It's nice and bright, makes it seem like they're on a show. And this really helps the whole cover art to really stand out. The last thing that we'll do is add their names down here at the bottom. So to do that, I'm just going to go to text and I will hit add a heading. I will type in their name, Lacey Book and Sean Dill. I will click and drag to make this bigger. I will center it up and then we'll change the font to white. I think what I'll also do is make this all uppercase, so you can do that by pressing this button here. And so I like the way that this font looks, but it's kind of hard to read. So one of the things that we can do is add a little bit of a fade to this bottom portion of the design to help this white text stand out. And we can use that using a different type of gradient. Coming over to the elements, we can just type in gradient. And right here we have a black gradient. So I'm just going to select this one and drag it all the way to the bottom. We will expand it across. And now you can see that's already starting to look better. It's easier to see and it fades into them here, and there's not really a place that you can tell where it starts and where it stops. One little trick that I found using Canva, especially when using gradients, what you can do is simply copy and paste and basically layer another gradient on top of this one. And basically what that did is just made a darker layer on top of this, but we still need to move this behind. So if we select our gradient and then hit backwards, now we have the white text that is on top, and we even have a darker kind of fade in up here. So that looks a whole lot better. So all we have to do now is export by going up to the share button, hit download, and we want to download as a PNG file. Click download, and we've got our design.